Man, I can't believe I actually dedicated pretty much a whole week to Nikke again. So that's actually pretty cool. This game's definitely got me by the balls, and bro, I'm really enjoying it. So I actually started thinking, like, man, what if this game actually came to consoles? Like, specifically the Xbox and the PS4, PS5? I think that would actually be pretty cool. So, one thing I'm going to talk about this video is basically how I would think the controls would be. So, the one thing I'm taking into consideration is basically, well, just like the mobile game or the mobile version itself, you're pretty much it's meant to be played with one hand unless you play it sideways. But I think overall you could play the game with one hand. So I kind of want to translate those kind of controls, but to like an Xbox controller or like a PS4 controller. Kind of get my thoughts about it. But the reason why I'm thinking about that too is because there's a game I think that recently came out, or I think it's only for PC and mobile. I think that Honkai Star Rail. So it's pretty cool that mobile games are getting like the console treatment. I do really appreciate that. The only thing when it comes to Nikke that I'm kind of concerned about is 'cause I know like Sony does like that censorship bullshit that nobody really cares for. I'm not too sure if Xbox would do it, but I wouldn't be surprised if they would do it the same thing. But I think it would be pretty cool. But before we get started, let me know in the comments, if Nikke were to come to consoles, would you just prefer the normal gacha game thing itself? Or what you would prefer, and this is honestly something I would prefer, but kind of keep the same mobile game aspect, is make a completely new, different story, or maybe even a side story that I don't know, make it canon, make it uncanon. I don't really care, but make it fun, get the waifus, and honestly, man, like the way it looks even on PC and in the game looks amazing. So I don't really think they would have to do too much to make it look just as good. I think it would look just fine on consoles. So let's get into it. So the purpose of this is, like I said before, is to play the game with one hand. So how will we do that when it comes to consoles? Well, unfortunately, when it comes to starting the game, you're pretty much going to be pressing the menu buttons. So for Xbox, it would be that stupid little button on the right side with the three lines. I think for Sony, it's called the options button, I believe. So that pretty much starts and pauses the game. So then going on to the next thing when they're getting into gameplay, to navigate the world map, you'd basically be using the left joystick, and this is assuming you're playing with your left hand and beating your meat with the right. That's the way I would do it. But yeah, so yeah, you'd be moving the left joystick to basically navigate the world map. And say for example, they do like what they do in the campaign, where basically when you're hugging the walls, you can find items. So instead of having to press one of the face buttons like A button or X button on the controllers, instead you can just click in the left joystick, pick up the item. So when you're in combat, I mean the game again, the one thing it automatically fires when you have your reticle over an enemy. So that's pretty cool. So you don't really have to push a button like a right trigger or left trigger or R2 and L2 or whatever. You just use the stick. Kind of like those twin stick shooters, stuff like that. Like you don't really press a button to fire. You just point the direction of your joystick and your gun automatically fires. So that would be pretty cool. Again, you just aim with the joystick. Whatever your reticle's over, bam, you just start shooting at the enemy. So I think that would probably be like the best bet. So, and this is assuming we're starting from the left side. So the next thing would be cycling through your characters. Well, I think the best method, because when you play the game, I'm not mistaken, you start off with the character in the third slot, basically the one in the middle. So if you wanted to cycle through your characters, you basically just use the left side and the right side of the D-pad. Two times to get to the farthest left, one time to get to the left, and vice versa, stuff like that. So I think that'd be kind of cool. So the next thing you could do, if you want to activate your skills. So the thing with this, I think, again, we're trying to keep it with one hand. So what you'd want to do instead is hold down the left trigger, or if you're on PlayStation, you're going to hold down the L2. And you could activate your character skills because of the way it is. It's set up as skill burst 1, skill burst 2, skill burst 3. But even with a team of 5, you're still not going to be having like 4 of like each of those skills. You just can't do it. Like I think the most you could have is like 3 for one specific skill burst. So for example, let's say we got if I could, I'm not even putting any specific characters because I don't know them all too well, but let's just say this team that we're just using our imaginations. We're gonna have 2 burst 1s, 2 burst 2s, and 1 burst 3. So you would hold the left trigger, and you would combo it with the left side. Left side would basically just be whatever character like is for the first burst skill 1. Then the right side of the D-pad, while also holding left trigger, would be the second option, your second character that has that burst 1. So again, you translate that Keep on holding left trigger. Now your burst 2 skills start coming up. Again, hold left trigger, right or left, depending who you have. That's how you activate it. So that's kind of how I think about it. And even if you had 3 characters for a specific burst, like say it's like a burst 3 and you have 3 of them, you can still have it to where it'll be the left side, the right side, and up on the D-pad while also holding left trigger. I think that would actually be pretty cool. So when it comes to like being in defensive positions or attack positions, simple. Just press LB. LB once to basically put them all in defensive position. LB, press it again, put them back into attacking positions. For PlayStation, that would be L1, so that's pretty cool. So that would pretty much be really the controls for the game. Again, it was mostly so you could just play the game with one hand while beating your meat with the other. So I think that would be pretty cool. All right, so a little bit of a cut in here because my dumbass forgot about this. There's one thing I did, actually 2 things I forgot. The auto battle settings, so which would be for auto aim and for auto skill activation. Well, for that, you could probably just actually fix that to the clicking in the thumbstick or clicking in R3. So you click it once, just basically activate the auto aim, and then if you want to activate auto skill animation, hey, just double click it. There you go. At least I hope that's how it works. So yeah, that's pretty much the only thing I can really think of because the mobile game, I think it would be very simple to translate to console. I think it would be anyway, with the way I pretty much have it set up right here, the way I talked about it. Let me know what you think. Other than that, dude, honestly, bro, I think it would just be fucking amazing if we got Nikke on consoles. Like, I feel like if they did really well, I feel like they would do it, or at least I really hope so. Or if not, it'd probably be something like, I don't know, like an official anime, which, I'd be down to watch. I'm loving Nikke. And, man, I cannot recommend the story enough. The story is amazing. And the reason why I'd want it on console, I just feel like it'd be more accessible than it already is. You have it on mobile, but there's also the PC version, and I love the PC version. Well, it's honestly the only way I can play the game. So the next thing I wanted to talk about would be, would it still be considered gacha mechanics for this version? Or instead, if it's like its own little standalone game, how do you go about unlocking characters? Well, again, assuming we're keeping the same kind of gameplay as the way it is in the mobile version, I think it'd be pretty cool to kind of have like a system where if you unlock certain achievements or trophies, you get like badass characters to go along with it. Or, just keep beating the game on different difficulties, stuff like that. Sorry about that. So another cut in here. But this is in regards to basically when I was talking about unlocking characters and them being linked to like trophies or achievements that you unlock. The one thing too that I would like to suggest, it would actually be to take out gear. I think the game should just be a little bit more simplified to make it for the console versions. That way, when you level up, your stats just get stronger. I feel like that would kind of take away from the experience, but I feel like it'd probably be the best. Because one thing I did want to throw into, just for like a little bit of fun, really, I think one thing that'd be kind of cool is especially if they made it like its own separate kind of story, its own separate kind of game, instead of just porting it over. I think one thing that could be really cool is giving some extra lines, like kind of like what Azure Lane does. They got like the special touch. So, for example, you grab the booty, they're gonna react to it. Grab a titty, they're gonna react to it. Pat their heads, they're gonna react to it. I think that would be pretty fucking badass. The only problem is, I think it would only be more beneficial if it happened on the PlayStation version. I'm primarily an Xbox user, but unfortunately, this is the only way I can see it logically. Because the PlayStation has that touchpad, so one thing that'd be kind of cool is you can activate like a little hand that disappears on screen. You grab the booty, bam, extra dialogue. But yeah, I think that would actually be pretty cool. So that's just a little side note I wanted to throw in real quick. Like I said, just I think another thing that would be cool as well is maybe add different endings. I think that would be pretty cool. Kind of like keep the game maybe a little short. Or maybe just to give more variety to the game itself, it being like a side story. I think that would be fucking awesome. Like, there was a lot more I really want to add, but I feel like if I just kept talking about it, this video would be a lot more longer than it needs to be. So, I'm just gonna cut it right here, man. I think they would do just fine if they just kept it like the way the battle mechanics are. Like, you got the one where you just gotta pretty much eliminate all the raptures, kill the boss at the end of it. Then that other mode where you're basically just holding down that line, making sure you don't lose that 20 points of shields. And then that last one, you're defending that device or whatever, but you basically have to have your blue bar all the way in like 51% or above to basically win the match. And I think it would translate very well. The only thing is, the only bad thing that I could probably say is, if it's not taken care of correctly, I think it can end up like Azure Lane Crosswave. And if you played that, yeah, man, that game is dog shit. I mean, I did a bad quickie review on it, and that thing was horrible. But I mean, it was there, I guess. I didn't really care for it. And the one thing I'm really hoping too, if they do it, which I'm pretty sure they would, like, well, this is again just speaking theoretically, is that if they did make the game, of course, they would have an English dub, and I think it would do pretty badass. But overall, if I had to, like I said, if I had to prefer, it would definitely be more like it'd be like a standalone game. That way, I mean, or if not, I mean, if it's a live service, I mean, I think that'd be kind of cool too, because at least they can constantly keep adding characters. But again, I just want it to be more accessible. I want more people to witness the story, especially that amazing soundtrack, bro. That soundtrack is just, it's on point, man. I cannot praise it enough. I love the soundtrack. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I honestly think this game would be amazing on consoles overall. So let me know what you think. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe, share the video. Thanks for watching. Night.